And
No problem. Okay, so let's begin. I'm just gonna share my screen. Okay. Okay, so we got up to talking about how to run activity accreditation reports. Let's concentrate on the reports you most likely are going to be running. So I know we're kind of short on time, so I'm going to do my best to get through as many reports I feel will be useful. If there's anything I'm unable to get to today for anything that we may have missed, please just let me know. At the end, I'll confirm with Maureen all the videos I may need to make for stuff I wasn't able to get to. But absolutely we'll be able to get to that at some point. Obviously not today, but we will do the best with the time that we have. So let's continue.
Abdul, the main reports are going to be demographic for those who are using PayPal or a processor, payment processor, maybe the sales report, the activity reports, and that's really it.
No problem. Let's start off with activity reports, and then we'll get to payment processors and stuff like that. I will definitely probably go to a specific domain to run it for something like that, because obviously on this domain, that's not really going to be possible because there's no payment requirement. So I may go to an alternative domain for that.
You know what? You can just do a video on that because there's only 2 people using it. So
okay, no problem. Okay, so let's do reports. Let's talk about the most common report that you are going to be using, and that is going to be the standard report for understanding where your learner is currently at in the activity. Now, we're going to look at the individual report first, then we're going to look at the domain version where you can run it on multiples of activities at the same time. So we're going to go to the activities option from here. So we can locate the course that we want to run this on. So what we're going to do is we're going to run it on this report, this course, the one that we've been working on. However, what I'm also going to do is cheat a little, and I'm going to assign one of these learners as completed. This is also a good example of a scenario where you might have to do something like this. If you are having trouble with a learner who is unable to complete an activity and you've tried investigating, you still can't seem to figure out what the problem is, this is a way that you can kind of force them to be completed on the activity. You would locate their account by going to transcript. You have to go into the manage section of the activity, go to transcript, and there's going to be an option to manually update record. So in this case, I would select this. And then if you don't want to put in anything specific, you can simply select this. Set the user as completed in the course, and it just gives them the minimum requirements needed, but it will set them as passed. Otherwise, you can choose to assign a score and choose if the success is passed. This one doesn't have a score in there, so I'm not going to confuse people with that. But you can also provide what time, how much time they actually spent on the activity, and what their original completion date was, especially if it wasn't something that that is supposed to be today. If it was something that took place in the past, you could absolutely do that. But yes, this would be one of the ways where you can set people as complete manually for an activity. It's going to finish processing. There we go. We can see that I'm passed. The duration has been set to an hour. I'm set as complete, and the completion date is today. Now, when we run this report, we will actually be able to play around with a couple of things with this. So let's talk about what we need to do first.
Yeah,
we found, yes.
Okay, so you mentioned, I tried using this feature, and when I tried to manually update the percentage, I'm just giving an example. Suppose I punch in 70%. But when the record updates, it becomes 7,000. So is there something that we need to do, or what is it that I'm getting wrong?
Okay, so if it's showing different on the transcript, if for some reason it says something crazy like 7,000, it's only a visual thing. It's only like on this page specifically. It should not, if it shows something like 7,000, of course, at that point, that's something we would need to investigate. Let me see what would show up like right now. So if I put in 70 in here, because we did update your LMS today as well. That could have been a part of the patch notes, but I'm going to just double check that. Okay, 70. Let's see if the score gets updated in here. There we go. It should be okay, but if There's a specific time that this pops up. If you could just submit a ticket for it, we can investigate something like that. It should be okay, but just in case, just submit a ticket for any issues like that.
Okay, yeah, because it happened multiple times and it becomes difficult to explain to the learner, because I'm punching in 70 or 50 or whatever, and it just goes into, it doesn't remove the 100, which is already there. So it's like it's multiplying with that.
Okay. Yeah, that seems more like a bug. If you could submit a ticket with that, with examples, I can get someone to investigate that for you. Okay, so we've got our user who set as complete. Now let's go ahead and run a report. So we're going to run a basic report, which is going to show us all the statuses of every single person in that. So no restriction. Then we're going to do one that's only going to look for either completed learners or incomplete learners. So there's going to be two types of simple reports we're going to be running here. So we go to the option of metrics and new report, and then standard. So standard is going to be the one that gives you the statuses of people, who was enrolled into the activity, when were they enrolled, how long have they spent in the activity, all that different type of stuff is what is going to be coming through here. So completion, what's called kind of completion report, anything along the lines of that, this is what this falls under. That it's just called standard now. And what I'm doing right now will also be able to be replicated at a domain level where you can do this for multiple activities. So right now we're doing it for the one. As soon as we get done playing with our test, we'll do it at the domain level as well. Okay. So we choose, first of all, the completion period, if there is one. If there's not one that's applicable to what you're trying to do, let's say you're just trying to get one for every single learner, regardless of when they got enrolled or completion. Maybe you're not even looking for completions. You're just looking for learners who are enrolled into the activity and whether or not they've even started the activity or not. You can choose, if you are planning on looking for completions or specific enrollment date periods, you can apply the dates from here by either choosing one of the options that we see or by choosing a date range. Similar to what we've done earlier, any of the range type of information that we've seen before, it works in the same way. So for example, if I was looking for completions that may have taken place between May 1st and today, we obviously know we will get one response because of the person that we manually completed today. And the same type of idea goes towards the enrollment period. If you're only targeting people that were enrolled within today, yesterday, this week, last week, or date ranges, that is where you'd be able to select the information for that. However, if none of this information is relevant for what you are trying to do in this report, simply select all time and move to the next step. Now, the most important part in here, you're going to want to select active. You don't care about inactive users on a report because they can't even access the LMS. And you don't really want to worry about the list of learners you're looking for in here. You want it just to be for everyone. If you did want to basically choose only board members who were enrolled into this activity and were active, then yes, use this type of option. But if you simply don't select it here, run the report and then open it up in Excel, the table format will allow you to sort it based on what you're looking for. By selecting in here, you are simply limiting what you have access to. And that's why, in my opinion, I would just simply have all the ones selected in there. Okay. Jesse, do you have a question?
I tried doing that, the same thing, but I think I'll do it separately. I'll clarify with you separately. Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
It doesn't pertain to everybody else.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so we're going to select active in here. Click on next. Okay. Now, this part is important as the last one was. We want to select include additional information in your report. Otherwise, it's only going to provide you with the count of the learner. Once again, so if I have 5 users or learners who are enrolled into this activity, and I was only looking for learners who are incomplete, and let's say 2 of the learners were incomplete out of the 5, it's only going to list me the number of 2 without showing me any additional information, which is what we don't want. We always want it to select who the learner is, or what they are, all the other additional information. The only time it will not provide you that information is for some reason, if it ever goes over 50,000 rows worth of data, it will simply not print out that information. You should not come across this issue. Unless for some reason you are running a report that contains every single person on your LMS, then yeah, you might come across a problem with that. But based on the amount of learners that are in your domains, based on the types of activities that you have, you should not come across this issue. And if for some reason you do, we can provide you the report through the database instead. The purpose of having 50,000 rows as the max amount is so it can limit how much power it's going to take away from the LMS when you're trying to execute this type of thing. If you try and run a report on millions of users, and yes, we have had a client who's tried to do that before, it does not end well for your LMS. The purpose of this is to stop you from possibly messing things up when trying to run a massive report. If massive reports are needed, it's probably best to request it through a ticket. Otherwise, if it's under 50,000 rows, which all of your reports should be, based on what you have available, it's going to show you all the learners enrolled into the activity. You can also choose to include an overdue learner information tab. What this is basically going to be, if you're looking for learners who haven't completed the activity in time, this is the one for you. Once again, same type of process, and of course, same type of options available for this. It will show anything under 50,000 rows. So once again, shouldn't be a problem for you guys. Let's click on next and keep moving. Now, of course, the report frequency, we've already gone through this. If you want to run this exact same report over and over again, simply choose the interval of when it was go. So if I say, instead, I want it to run every Sunday, I would choose the recipients. I do believe by default you are added, but I always just do this just to be sure. And of course, provide a name and then simply create report. So what we've just done is just a basic report. We are looking for every person enrolled into the activity, nothing special in that, right? Let's do one now where you're going to be looking for something very specific. You're looking for either completed learners or incomplete learners. So this is going to be based on status. So we're going to do the same thing again. Main menu, metrics button, and then we're going to click on new report. And then what we are going to do is click on the option of standard right here. Okay, these we can skip. We can select active in there. Additional information for this. I don't think we offer the option to hide what's available in here anymore. Yeah, it looks like we got rid of that. So now what's basically happening in here is we've just given you the option to allow you to filter out that information. Whenever you're trying to run a report on all your learners, the idea now is just simply give you that report without any restrictions. So that way you can manipulate the information as needed. What this means is the following. There's no way to now either assign someone if you look for incomplete learners or completed ones. As you can see in here, if I go to active, it's only going to show me either active, inactive, or all. The way to choose the completion option is going to be through here. So for example, if I was looking for a completion that only took place today, which we know for a fact will be for that one learner that I manually completed today, that's where this would come into place. Otherwise, you can choose based on enrollment period. So if you're looking for completions only, you're going to want to use this. And of course, if you're just looking for all completions, once again, it doesn't really matter, does it? You can just select all time. But in our case, we're going to select today because we know for a fact we just set someone as complete. So let's select this option for that. Now that we've done that, I believe our other report should be completed, or it might still be waiting. Okay, no problem. It's not going to take too long for this to finish processing. So we're going to keep adding the report and then we'll take a look at what the output is going to be like for this. Yes, it should. So whenever a learner is withdrawn from an activity, there's actually a workbook or a tab, wherever it's called in Excel. There's one specifically for withdrawals, and in there, once again, it will post the same information that you see in the transcript. So if there was a reason provided when the learner was withdrawn, it will provide that, as well as who the person was who withdrew them and when were they withdrawn and all that type of stuff. That should be available in every single one of these types of reports when it comes to standard.
You could show them one in my domain because we do have reports that have been run. And then cover the demographic, the domain reports which are useful if you want to like run some report on SDP and you want to include the English version, the Korean version, the Spanish version, you can add those different courses so that they all show up in the same report.
Right. No problem. Let's do that now. Okay, so
If you look at reports, reports.
okay, and then this is the one for the domain. So just a quick point. So we go to report on this section right here. We're not looking at the individual one now. As you can see from here, we've moved on to this, and we should still be able to see all the other reports as well. As you can see here, the reports that we just ran have downloaded. We'll take a look at them in just a second.
Oh, you can't see mine.
It's based on your domains.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's based on
My
the learner's
profile.
account.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So what we'll do now is let's run a report for the domain. So we're going to select multiple activities using an example that Maureen just provided. And then we'll take a look at what the output is going to look like for an individual report versus a report that's run at the entire domain level. So let's go to add report from here and then click on domain activities report. It's going to be the first one. Now in here, what we're going to do is, why is it going to custom schedule? Let's try that again. Okay. So that's very strange. Just give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. It was just being weird. I think I had it open in a different window. That's why it was being a little strange. This is what you should see. So it's going to first make you choose what you are trying to select. You can either choose all activities, which I do not suggest doing. What you can otherwise do is do select activities from here, which you can select up to 10 activities, or select an activity type, which means you can target a specific type of activity. If you're trying to run it on only learning paths, you can do it from here. It will run it on all the learning paths as well as the activities in that. If you're doing it for e-learning courses, of course, you can select that. You can do it for multiples as well. If you want to do comprehensions, demonstrations, assessments, and portfolios, we could absolutely run it on all of them and it would give me the output that we need. But in our case, let's say we are targeting e-learning courses. And we're going to say that we want to manually select them as well. You then choose the status. Once again, I would always do active. And this is going to target the activity. If you do inactive as well, you can run it on activities that are no longer active. But once again, the information would be based on the last time you set as active, because there's been no update since then, obviously. And you can also then choose that if you're going to include courses from shared domains or parent domains, which I would not suggest doing. Keep it relative to the domain that you are on. Otherwise, it will get very confusing very quickly.
Well, Abdul, they're like, let's say we're using our self-determination orientation. That is a shared course.
Okay, if that is the case, you would definitely. But the thing is, it's being shared into the domain, right? So yes. It means that if it's available on the existing domain, what it's trying to basically do is include activities from shared domains. It should also still select that. I'll double check this just to be sure.
I think it does. I don't think you have to check it, but it's a little confusing.
Yeah, I'll find out what the entire purpose is for this one. It should automatically be in there, but just in case.
If it's been shared with the domain that you're in, then it should work without checking that. But go ahead, just go next.
Okay, no problem. Now from here, it's going to list the types of activities that you're trying to find. Now, of course, you are going to have to search. You're going to have to give it a couple of moments to do the thinking. Now, what we want to do is let's try and find the example that we just seen earlier. So let's say
the SDP.
Okay. Go.
Great.
Right. So let's say we wanted to run it on some of these. Oh, let's select a handful. So I'll do
the go down. Let's do the shared ones. Keep going down. Shared.
Okay. So,
do it on the SDP English.
Okay, no problem.
And you can add some other ones too. I see they're not enabled on your And
It's okay. We can still
if you're
run
gonna
it.
add them, right?
Yeah, I can still add them in here. It will still
Okay.
run on them for this. So we'll do that. So we've got English and Spanish. Let's see.
But if you said only do active, I just do all. If you go back to the previous page and select all. Yes, all. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah. Thanks.
No problem. Okay. I'm just gonna see if
Yeah, that's okay. Just keep going down to the shared ones.
okay, I think I need to.
I'm doing ones I know you're going to get some results. So
Okay, just give me 1 second. I think we're rushing a bit too much on this. Just one moment. I just need to refresh.
and while he's doing that, I'm just going to say I'm having to leave early. So I just want to remind you, I put in the chat the evaluation. There's also a QR code if you want to download that and take it later. But please help us out by adding that. And there's a comment section. So in the comment section, if you could put what else you need to know that wasn't covered, that will help us plan for what videos we're going to make available. Appreciate it.
That seems like it's about, okay, no worries.
Thank you, Maureen. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you.
Okay. So we are down to our last 15 minutes, so I'm not going to mess around too much for this. Obviously, learning paths I will cover in its own video. I'll make sure to spend quite a lot of time going through that because I assume there's going to be a ton of questions to do with that. So if you do provide us with questions of like anything we weren't able to get to, obviously learning paths, just let me know all the stuff you want me to go through with learning paths. I will create a video dedicated to all the questions that are in there, and I'll make sure to highlight them in the actual video itself as well. So let's execute a domain report and then cover any other reports that we have access to that would be helpful for you guys. And then of course, I'll take the last 5 minutes to any immediate questions, anything that we can have time for basically. So let's go ahead and do this again. Okay. So I'm going to select this and let's run it on one of these as well, just to be sure. Let's see how that turns up, and we'll do it on a random one from the top here. Actually, let's do 2 and see what that turns out like. Okay. So there seems to be a bit of a problem right now trying to skip between pages, which I will get that looked at. I'm just going to take a quick screenshot. No problem. Yeah, certificates is definitely one of the things we weren't able to get to today. I will definitely cover that in a video for something like that. I'm sure Maureen will take the list of questions that everyone has and she'll provide them to me. And from there, I will make sure to provide all the videos needed for that. Okay, so from here, we're going to click on next. So we have 4 of our courses selected. Now it's going to make you go through the same process. This time around, once again, we're just going to do it for something simple where like all statuses, and we're just simply trying to see where everyone is currently at in the courses that we have just selected. So we're not going to play around with any of these 2 options here. We're simply going to go to next, and now it will let you choose additional items. So we're looking for learners who are only active, and now it lets you choose the statuses as well. We're looking for all statuses or learners who are only incomplete, or we're looking for learners who are incomplete and overdue. So if you're targeting overdue people within the activities, this is one of the ways that you can do that. In our case, we're going to say we're looking for everyone who is actually incomplete in the activity. So that way we can limit it to everyone who hasn't complete.
Please just select all so they can see everything.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry. And you don't need to do any of that because this is You're in the staff page though, so this is not going to turn up very much results. Sorry, I should have put you in the parent page, but that's okay.
Okay, so we do need to select this top option because if you don't want to see counts and you want to see the detailed information of the actual of the report and everyone in there, you do need to select the top option because this is what kind of provides the details for that. Of course, the bottom option is the requirement of it being overdue. So if you are looking for overdue learners in there as well, this will provide you with a separate tab for that. Let's click on next. We don't need to worry about additional custom fields. This would obviously be if you were targeting someone specific, like a user type or anything along the lines of that, but we don't need to worry about that in here. Let's click on next. Report frequency, we've talked about this quite a bit. Let's click on create report. Now, because there's not that much information here, it should run relatively quick and we should get a response for this. While that's running, let's look at the individual reports that we just ran. So let's go to download report from here. So we're going to look at the first one that we ran. And this one was, once again, one without any restrictions. So we had said every single learner enrolled into the activity. Okay. Actually, no, this one may have been the completion one, not active or true. Why didn't it pull anyone up? That's strange. Okay, no worries. So, oops. The other report will give us a proper output for this. So we'll take a look at that. But I did want to show you what is available at the bottom here. So as you can see, the first tab is what we get for the count. If we did not select that additional checkbox where it says
you're not sharing.
Oh, sorry.
Abdul, I can share a report that has data in it.
Sure. Do you want to take over?
Yeah, I'll just share that real quick. Let's see if I can find it here. Hold on a second. Okay, hang on one second. I'm going to share it. Okay, so this report is on my parent campus. And the first page is the completion report, and it gives you the number of people. I did it for all time. The number who are enrolled, haven't started yet, who are in progress, and who have completed. Then I go to the next sheet, which is the overall completion report. And that lists all of the people. And if Abdul was to access those metadata fields, that's where this is important to have, the client's first name and the client's last name in your parent registration, because it will tell you who these parents are parents of. So you've got the name of the person and the, email of the person and their completion status and when they started, when they completed, and you can then sort this information. But that's what the report will look like. Now, if there were people that were in there and they were withdrawn, and you can see it's all administrators that tested it, that's where they would be in a withdrawal report. And I don't have to tell it to do that. I did show me everything, every status, every person from the beginning of time, and it's doing that. So I just wanted to share that with some data.
Maureen, is this report giving you the withdrawal reason? Just I was the one who asked before, and I'm not seeing it on my reports.
I just stopped sharing, so sorry. Let me open it again real quick. it is telling you who withdrew, but it doesn't give you the reason.
Okay.
I will.
When they withdrew, the date, and who withdrew them, whether it was the person or the admin.
I will ask if there's a particular reason why that was removed or what the issues with that, but that is definitely something we should have included in that.
Okay, thank you, Abdul.
No problem.
I don't really have a clue what this interaction workbook is, but
I believe it's supposed to capture answers that are given for an assessment or something along that, but I will get a.
yeah, we don't have an assessment in these courses that I chose, so maybe that would be here if it were available.
Okay. Okay, so we are down to our last 6 minutes. What else would you want me to cover? Is there any questions about reports? Anything specific you want to see in the time that we have left? Any other type of questions that for anything we've gone through that may have not made sense that I can answer in the time that we have? Okay. I'm just trying to think of anything I can come up with, but at this point, my brain is kind of like mush, which I assume everyone kind of feels the same way about that right now. Let's see. Is there any other type of report that I can think of that would